Hello, it's me. I was wondering if after 1 week you'd still want to hear from me. I'm sorry, I can't do this. Are you ready for round 2 with Kaden Behrens? This is supposed to be the fun part of the episode, but this kid is a thinker. Ever wondered about the pyramids and how they were built? So has Kaden. He also scored 7 touchdowns in a single football game, loves the Lord of the Rings, and wants to be Anakin Skywalker? No. I mean, he wants to be like Hayden Christensen, who played Anakin Skywalker. By the end of this episode, Kaden will tell us about his viral TV surfing TikTok video, his opinion on the COVID lockdowns, and the attack on biblical morality today. So step into the batter's box as these guys try to hit one out of the park. Here's your host, Bubba Seaman.
All right, welcome back. What is up, everybody? This is part 2 with Kaden Behrens, one of my church-going buddies that I watched grow up there in Dunkerton, and now he's moved on to Wartburg. And I mean, you said JV, but I got a feeling, in the next year or so, you're probably going to see some varsity playing time over there?
Yeah, well, that's the goal.
Okay. So, it says JV, but he'll be eyeing the varsity uniform here pretty soon. So on this episode, we're going to get into his segments. He picked out some good ones, and we're gonna have some fun with this one. So usually I started out with the Dumb Dad segment. That is only for me, so that's not for you. And that's if I messed up on the last episode or anything like that. If I've done something stupid lately, the kids, they kind of nickname me when I do something dumb. They're like, yeah, Dumb Dad just showed up again. And there's plenty of stories that go along with that, but this would be where I highlight one of my mistakes. And I recently made a mistake. We had this episode, the last guest on, and I thought I could do this thing. You know how cool podcasts, I'm sure they do it for TikTok. I'm not on TikTok, but I am on Facebook and Instagram, so follow us. They do this thing where they record an episode of something, and then they will chop up little clips, and then they'll release it as like a teaser. So I was like, I'm going to do that because we got a lot of good little clips. So I start putting these things together, and I even get a little like a white noise static thing in between each one. So it's like I'll be talking about something, and then it's, and then it goes to the next one. And I thought it was like a 2-minute thing. I'm super proud of this thing. And I play it, and Timothy and Sarah are like, Dad. Timothy goes, Dad, it's too long. It's too long. You put clips in this teaser. It needs to be sound bites. They need to be like 5 seconds. On to the next one. And you need to be done at like 30 seconds. If you want people, he's like, I'm not going to stop while I'm scrolling. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was thinking this was like going to be this epic teaser. And they're like, no, nobody's going to listen to this. Too long. You messed up. So that's Dumb Dad. But this episode is not about me. That one segment is about me. We are going to move right into the Pastor Tommy segment. Kaden, when you remember Pastor Tommy, did you ever hear him say this or talk about this? Because I did. He said he hoped there was a movie theater in heaven where you could go and sit and watch any biblical event or any event from history and see how it actually happened. If that room actually exists, what do you want to see?
Well, I feel like the easiest one, most obvious one would probably be the creation of the world. So I decided to choose something a little bit different, actually. Good. Yeah, I kind of cheated. I chose 2. That'd be the first obvious one, but I wanted to be a little bit more out of the box. One thing that's always kind of fascinated me was like the building of the pyramids.
Oh, okay.
Like just how feasibly that happened.
How'd they do it?
Yeah. The way I kind of feel about it, I think there used to be like advanced like technologies and stuff back then that are like lost on us now. Like maybe like they're advanced in a way like that we aren't, like in a different way, like how we found like combustion engines and stuff. Maybe they found like a different way to do all these things, because like all like the crazy like insane like buildings they used to have back then, like thinking about like the Tower of Babel
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like, how were they building stuff like that way back then? Like, they had to have been like advanced, because it's kind of hard to tell like how actually like big the Tower of Babel was before it got broken down. But like some of the estimates I've seen have been like 1.5 miles tall. Like that, like just
it's insane.
Yeah, like barely even feasible. Or like Noah's Ark. Like, how did he build that with him and his family that fast? Like, out of wood, and like they've even tested it, and it's like wave tested, like how they built it, and it's like fantastic. It's just they had to have been doing something different back then. So the one thing I'm like that's just weird to me this day, and especially because it's still around too, is the pyramids. I don't know. I think like I feel like they use like the Nephilim or like fallen angels or something.
Okay.
Like, we know those existed, right?
I just mentioned them last Sunday. The Nephilim. Yeah, a lot of people aren't going to know that. That's Genesis chapter 6. They were supposedly giants or creatures, other giant creatures that fell to earth. It's kind of a deep subject, so we're just going to leave it at that for now. But the easy way out is say the aliens built the pyramids. Yeah. I've heard that theory. It's like we didn't have that capability then. There's no way we did. So obviously it came from somewhere else. And I'm just like, man, I don't know.
Yeah. Like, when you look at the hieroglyphs, there's stuff that looks like UFOs, like all this weird stuff.
Yeah, I've
like,
heard that.
Maybe that's just like some kind of technology they had back then. Like, maybe they're more advanced again, like in a way that we are. That's kind of been lost in the world. Maybe do like some kind of like apocalyptic event that kind of like reset everyone back to like hunter-gatherers and stuff.
Okay.
Something like that. There's like depictions of like giant, huge like people. If you look at some of the hieroglyphs, like carrying like these giant stones. Which, by the way, the stones that are like built in the pyramids are built out of were like mined in they dated them and found them, like they were in a quarry that was like 500 miles away, like across the Nile,
really,
like southeast of like Gaza. I mean, these stones are giant. They're like some of them are 2.5 to 70 tons. Like the ones in the King's Chamber get up all the way to like 80 ton, like giant, massive stones. And like, how did they get those across the desert, like sand? Like, how did they like?
Yeah, because your typical like rolling on round planks isn't gonna. I mean, it can't work across all that terrain.
Yeah, I honestly, I really don't believe that like that is like of human like conception. Like, I really don't. Like, there's something like different with that. I mean, like the way like even like the way the stones like sit together, they're like laser cut, like super straight. Like, you can like barely get like a piece of paper between them. And there's all this like weird stuff with the pyramids too. If you like look at the pyramid, like each of the sides are aligned almost like exactly within like 0.00 something of a degree of an angle, like within like true north, east, south.
I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Now you're starting to get me to think.
No, this goes deep.
Oh man.
Like they align with, I think it's like Orion's belt, like one of the constellations.
What?
Like the way they're laid out, like align like perfectly with like one of the constellations. Like, I don't know. This is a rabbit hole I've gone down before, and like this is why I chose it, because it's just like I have to know.
Okay.
Yeah. The pyramids up until like the 1800s were like the tallest building in the world. Until the next tallest building that was built after that was the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah. Okay.
And they were around. They're so ancient. Like during like Exodus and stuff.
How's it not written down somewhere then? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't lose sleep over it, but. That is wild. Like,
they talk about how like Noah built the ark and stuff, kind of like at least like a little bit in more detail, but like this seems like way crazier.
Oh, this is way more. The ark, I mean, I said on an episode they depicted that in a movie, how some of the primitive tools that they may have had, Noah had. And I mean, Noah didn't do it quick, but the pyramids, who knows how long it took. Yeah, that's crazy. Basically, this segment gets down to the point like, if there's, it's cool to say, I'd want to see this. And some people say creation or the building of the ark or I want to see the signing of, what it looked like in the room when they were signing the Declaration of Independence. That was probably a pretty tense moment, things like that. But what we're basically saying when we talk about this kind of stuff is like, these are answers we're probably not going to have this side of heaven. So there's a little saying that I have when people ask a Bible question, and maybe it's one of those really good questions where there's a few different theories or possible answers, and we just can't pinpoint the answer this side of heaven. And I just say, well, you just have to ask them when you get there. Mm-hmm. Make sure you're going there. You know what I mean? And it depends on who we're talking to. That might be the first time they've heard that I can know I'm going to heaven. I thought I had to earn it, and no one really knows, like I did when I was a kid. I just thought, no one knows if they're good enough, and it's like, no, the Bible says you're not good enough. It's not about you. Jesus did it all, and if you want to put your faith in him, you can have your sins forgiven, and then you'll live for him, and it's awesome. It's go look up John 3:16, folks. If you have no idea what we're talking about, just go read John 3:16, and if that don't spark your interest about how you can be in heaven if your last breath is, in the next minute of this podcast, you can know you're going to heaven. That's why he came. So, okay, the pyramids. Wow, I didn't think you were going there. That's wild. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the Doug Heffernan segment. Doug Heffernan, King of Queens. He had some high school glory days in football, and so what's one of your best moments from the high school glory days? It doesn't have to be football. It could be anything, but
okay. Probably one of the most satisfying and one of the most proud things I've done in high school is I've kind of done like the quadfecta of like big plays in all the sports I've done. So like starting off with like football, like I've had like kick return touchdowns and like basically scored in just about any way you can think of.
Okay.
Like so I've checked that box. Moving on, basketball, I've had dunks in games. That's kind of like the biggest play I really feel like you can make besides hitting like but I have hit a buzzer beater in JV actually my freshman year, so I've kind of done like all those big plays. Moving on, we got track, getting a state medal at track.
Yeah,
that's just about
can't get any bigger.
Yeah, I can't really get much bigger than that. And then baseball, I've hit a home run, hit one.
Okay.
Yeah, I played 2 years in high school. I hit a home run. My parents like went to all my games and like usually watched all my games, but they were playing. They had baseball. It was at North Tama. We had baseball and softball going like right next to each other, and like my parents were watching the softball game because there was like some fight going on over there or something like that.
Whoa.
So they look away for like 2 minutes, and I hit a home run, and they missed the whole thing.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
Oh.
Yeah. If I had to pick like a single moment or something though, like out of high school that was probably my favorite is my senior homecoming. I had 7 touchdowns that game.
Nice.
Like broke a school record. It was in a couple articles after that, and it was against I believe it was Colonesco, and that was like a must-win game. Like to go to playoffs.
Yeah.
It was like about halfway through the year, and we started to realize like, wow, we actually like have a shot like to go to playoffs for the first time since like 2008 or something like that, or 2011 maybe. And so it was a big game to win. It was one of those must wins that we had pretty much win out the rest of the season to place high enough in conference to be able to make playoffs.
Yep, I remember that.
And so that was a pretty cool night. And then obviously like winning homecomings, obviously like great. And my senior year, couldn't have capped it off much better than that.
Cool. Yeah, I got nothing to add to any of that. That's good stuff. All right, we'll move into the getting to know you segment. So these are kind of more like rapid fire questions. I try not to add much content, and it really helps the audience get to know you a little bit faster, a little bit deeper. So if you could meet anyone in the world, who would it be?
I'd have to say, I feel like, again, like kind of like the Pastor Tommy segment, like Jesus is kind of like the wide up, like layup answer.
It's a layup.
Yeah, it
but
really
you are going to meet him.
Yes,
so that,
yes.
you can't use that one. You got to give me somebody else.
So if I could meet any other human, I'd probably say King Solomon. I mean, he's like the wisest guy that ever lived.
He
I
asked
mean, he
for
could probably,
wisdom.
Yeah, he could probably tell me anything. Well, not anything, but he could probably tell me a lot of stuff that I want to know. I don't know. I recently like went down a little rabbit hole with him too. So are you aware of like the non-canonical like books of the Bible that aren't like technically canon, stuff like that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I haven't obviously read any of those or anything. I don't really take them that seriously, but I've seen
does he have one?
Yeah, it's like Testament of Solomon.
Okay.
And one of like the main things it talks about in there is that like the Archangel Michael gave him like a magic ring that he used like to command demons, and he like had them build the first temple in Jerusalem.
No kidding.
Yeah, and obviously like these things aren't canon. A lot of them weren't canonized because like they're like what's that word that starts with A? Heretical or something like that. So I don't really like.
Yeah, they conflict.
To
be considered in the canon of Scripture, they had to, it had to either be like an eyewitness or there's a handful of different rules. Couldn't conflict with anything in the Old Testament or New Testament. There were certain things. So yeah, there's the Maccabees, that one. There's a few others that there's some truth in there, but it must not jive with the rest of, what we believe is inspired by God. So it didn't make it into the Bible.
Yeah. But we don't know like which parts are like, I guess we don't really know like which parts are true or not really. So like if that was true, like I would kind of want to hear about that, because that's insane. Like that's crazy to me.
And really, I mean, that's how we take other people's historical writings, Josephus and other historians, their writings are considered historical documents and they jive with Scripture. They're not God-inspired writings, but it's cool to read other people's writings that aren't in the Bible that talk about things that are in the Old Testament, New Testament, about the life of Jesus, whatever. It's pretty cool to read other people's writings too. So, okay, top 3 movies.
Top 3 movies. All right. I am like one of the biggest Star Wars fans in the world.
Oh!
I love it so much. So, first place overall best movie ever made, Star Wars 3: Revenge of the Sith, hands down, not even close.
Okay, so yeah, you're not talking the old school stuff when I was a kid. You're talking
those
when
are
you
great,
were.
Though.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Dude, you just kind of showed your hand a little bit. Like here, you're setting yourself up to be this big jock and everything, and now it's like, I love Star Wars. I never could get into them, and I've tried. I've even seen that scene in one of them where when the guy's actually turning into Darth Vader.
Yep.
And like that's cool.
Yeah.
Other than that, I can't watch hours of that stuff just to get to that part. I can't.
Man, really?
No,
wow,
I can't. I think I was kind of forced to watch the old ones when I was a kid because my brother was 3 years older than me. So I just kind of like, this sucks.
Yeah, those are really good.
Yeah, I was like, put on Ninja Turtles. I don't want to watch this stuff. Okay, so Star Wars, keep going.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, biggest. I love Star Wars so much, and that's the best one.
Okay.
Another series that I like that's super popular, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Again, like the third one, I like the thirds for some reason. Return of the King, it's fantastic. I love like the fight scenes are insane.
Nice.
Just like Star Wars too. Like I like action movies a lot.
Okay.
And then last one here, switching this up a little bit, still action though. The Dark Knight, the one with Heath Ledger as Joker and Christian Bale as Batman.
That's a long one, but it is good.
It don't get much better than that as far as superhero movies that go, really.
Yeah. And Batman's not a superhero. That's the cool thing. It's like he goes down as a superhero. He's just a guy. I mean, what's his superpower? Money and technology?
Being rich, yeah.
That's it. That's cool, yeah.
He's probably the only rich guy ever that actually uses money for good things. Yeah.
He's the anti-George Soros. That's what he is.
Yeah, for real.
Okay. Favorite song or like pump-up song, workout song?
Okay. I kind of cheated on this one too because like I like rock and rap almost identically, so I kind of had to pick one for both. I'm big Guns N' Roses fan.
Oh my goodness!
Huge Guns N' Roses fan. "Don't Cry" is my favorite song.
Oh,
by them.
Wow!
Yeah, it's kind of more like a softer, like a ballad one.
It is.
I don't know. That's like my go-to.
Axl was a composer, man. People don't realize that he was a composer.
Yeah, he's really talented. Like "November Rain," like he play like piano, like
that's
do all
me
that
and Sarah's
stuff.
song. That's
really?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it.
Yeah, that's great.
Wow, you just went up a notch in my book, man. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm big into them.
All right, what you got? You got a hard song though, or no?
Okay, another song for rap. My favorite rap song is probably "Love Me." I mean, you've probably never heard that, "Love Me" by like Lil Wayne and like Drake and those guys.
Nope.
Probably the younger. Yeah,
I know who Lil
viewers.
Wayne is. He was the guy, right? That was a bad one. I shouldn't have done that.
His voice is weird, but I don't know. That song's probably not the most appropriate, but it's just good.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you guys listen to in the locker rooms before football games? Or give me a high school pump up song in the locker room, and what do you guys listen to now?
Okay. High school, we always came out to Back in Black. We played the whole album through.
AC/DC,
yeah. A lot of Eminem too in the locker room, like Till I Collapse, stuff like that.
Okay.
So like a little bit of rock, a little bit of like rap stuff.
Yeah. That's
kind of how it is in at Wartburg too. A lot of like rock, or they listen to a lot of country too.
Really?
But not really for pump up, I'd say. Just like during like workouts, or we play music during practice.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd say my pump up song is Everlong by Foo Fighters.
Okay.
That one's great.
Yeah, that is good. Man, that's 90s stuff there.
Yeah.
Right? That's good. Yeah, JJ went to a University of Iowa lineman camp over the summer, and that's cool. They have like hip hop music going over the loudspeaker on the practice field the entire time, and it might not be your kind of music, but just the beat to it, just watching the boys warm up, it helps you move through the exercises and things because it's just got a good beat to it. So, yeah, that's good stuff. Okay, First car, worst car. They don't have to be the same one, but what was your first car and what is your worst car?
Okay, technically my first car that like is mine, not like something from my parents. When I was 16, me and my dad drove up to Wisconsin and picked up a 1980 Camaro.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like midnight purple with red interior. We bought it for like $5,000. The heater core was like leaky and stuff, so that was the first thing we did. We replaced that. I put a decent amount of work into it. It was kind of like a nice for like a little project car. I've never like been like, I'm not like super mechanically inclined. I don't really know that much about cars, and so but my dad is like, he used to restore like he used to like part out and
Monte
like
Carlos
and
those. Yeah.
So he helped me out a lot with that, and that was really nice because I learned a lot about cars through that, kind of just like fixing stuff on it. So
was that the one in your senior picture, that Camaro?
Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
okay, I remember that. Yeah.
Yep, we repainted it black, put new red carpet in it, a couple other repairs and stuff, and like got new tires this summer. Okay. So that one's pretty sweet. It's got T-tops on it. And
yeah. So you probably don't have a worse car. You probably never had a junker.
Not really.
No. Okay.
And like my everyday driver is a 2003 Impala.
Okay.
As old as I am, my parents got it when I was like born. I've never really had any problems with it. It's great, gets decent mileage.
There you go.
Can't really complain. I've been pretty fortunate in that aspect.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Moving on. Favorite restaurant or fast food, it could be, but.
All right. Best restaurant I've ever been to. Last Christmas, not this most recent one, but before that, I went to Spain over Christmas and like New Year's.
Of course.
Yep. And my girlfriend took me to like this really nice like steakhouse, and they bring out like a plate of like steak, and it's like cut like super thin. Okay. And they bring out this rock that's like 1,000,000 degrees, and you like put oil and salt down on it, and you cook the steak like on this like flat rock.
What?
And it was like the best steak I've had in my entire life. It was so good. It was fantastic. And for appetizer, we had like grilled octopus on like potato, and like seasoned up and everything. It was so good.
I don't know, dude. I don't know if I could do it. Octopus, not appetizing to me. But yeah, other cultures, man. To me, that's the same thing, isn't it?
It's a little different.
Really?
Yeah, it's still kind of.
It's in the same family.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's chewy like that, I'm not in.
Oh man, I love it.
And
the steak was so good. That was probably the best meal I've ever had in my life.
I'm with you on that. Okay, you're on death row. You're getting executed tomorrow. You get one meal. What's your last meal?
All right. First off, we got steak and eggs. I've actually gotten huge into that recently. Like every time I come home, steak, putting eggs.
That's a good healthy meal, really.
Yeah, it's great. Seafood boil too.
Yeah.
Kind of hitting all of them.
Yeah.
I remember we used to go to your house to do like the crawfish boils and stuff.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've been to one of those because usually I'm busy. But
because I think your mom and dad came last year or the year before. They were able to make it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you guys are always invited. Crawfish boil. Man. That's the way to go.
Yeah, your family knows how to cook one of those up good. I'll tell you what.
I've messed up a couple and now I got it down. So I can do it now, but I've always relied on somebody else. There you go.
You can't go wrong with that.
Mm-mm.
And then I got lemon pepper wings. That's a classic. Easy go-to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. With some homemade ranch. Oh, yeah. Give me that every time. And then...
bone in or boneless?
Bone in.
Traditional wing guy over here.
Yeah, if it's my last meal, I'm going all out. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And then you're going to file the bone down to make a shiv or something and get your way out of the...
They pick the locks open with that thing. Hey, whatever it takes.
All right.
Yeah.
What else you got? Anything?
All right. Yeah. Moving on to dessert. We got cinnamon rolls. Can't go wrong with those. Come on now.
Nice.
And crepe with Nutella. I had a really good one of those in Spain. And there's a place in Cedar Falls called like Tata Yaya. And you can go there and get like, they make like crepes and stuff. Oh my gosh. So good.
If you don't know what a crepe is, check it out. Like super thin. I mean, how do you call it? It's like a super thin rolled pancake, I guess.
Yeah, it's like a pancake and like a tortilla had a baby, I guess.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good way to put it right there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, man, I don't even want to go down this road, but I can never order crepes when I'm at a place that has them because they just don't look like they'd fill me up. You know what I mean? I need more. I need steak and eggs. I need a waffle. I can't do the crepes, but they are delicious.
It ain't a meal. It's more like a dessert.
Right. There you go. Okay. Favorite sports teams or athletes? Who do you like?
Yeah, so I kind of just like all the teams my dad likes. That's kind of the way to do it, honestly.
Yeah.
So I've been Broncos, Hawkeyes. I don't watch very much MLB, but I'll watch the Dodgers losing the playoffs every year. So we'll do that. We actually went when we were in Colorado for summer 2 years ago. We went and saw the Dodgers play the Rockies out there.
Okay.
That was really sweet. I don't really watch any NBA either, but if I do, I usually just watch the Lakers. I grew up on like Cartoon Network, watching like Kobe play, like they play like the highlights like before like school and stuff. So that's the only team I've really ever watched.
Cool.
As far as like athletes go, one of my favorite ones recently has been CJ Stroud. He's a young,
he's a real deal, man.
Yeah, he's up and coming star. Had him on my fantasy team. He did some good stuff for me. Did you see that clip where they talked to him post game and he was like talking about like, like first off I want to give all the glory to God and everything, and they cut it off like,
if you saw it live, you heard him give glory to God. If you saw it anything not live, anything on the internet, it was clipped out.
Unreal.
NBC, what is up with that? Christianity's not that unpopular. Why wouldn't you just leave that in? I don't know.
Yeah, that tells you everything you know about them.
That's another episode. I think I got it mentioned somewhere. Messed up. Or I think I was actually going to bring it up in Sunday school last week is what it is. Because I saved that video. Yeah, why would they do that? Come on. Because we got a lot of young athletes that do that. You know what I mean? Hendon Hooker and his brother, they took some of his NIL money a couple of years ago when he was kind of up and coming, and they did a comic book, like an action figure comic book with football players on it called the ABCs of Scripture and stuff like that. You got a lot of college athletes that are in the prime time that are Christians that grew up, traditional like black families that put God first, and there's nothing wrong with them saying that. Why would you cut that? But we can't spend this episode talking about that. I'll get on a rant. You got anything else for that?
Peyton Manning. I've been a Broncos fan, so he won us the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he was good with the Colts. I mean, I can't believe he ended up winning one with you guys. But
yeah, I mean, because we went that one year, got absolutely destroyed by the Seahawks. I'm like, wow, we're cooked, we're done.
Yeah.
And then actually that year we won the Super Bowl. I'm pretty sure that was the most like efficient offense like of NFL history, like averaged the most points a game.
Yeah,
like one of the best offenses of all time.
That's Peyton Manning for you. All right. Childhood idol. I'm on record saying I'm not a big fan of idols, but we all, as kids, had somebody we looked up to or whatever. You got anybody like that?
Yeah, being a Star Wars fan, Hayden Christensen, the guy that played Anakin Skywalker. I just wanted to be that guy. Like he had like sweet hair, and he was so cool. Like he could really swing that lightsaber around. He was dope. I mean, in the movies, he had Natalie Portman, like.
That was his girl?
Yeah. I think they did in real life. Like super hot brunette chick with brown eyes. Like just like my girlfriend.
Yeah, that's your life.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. Man, I wanted to be him so bad. Yeah. I just thought he was so cool. I grew up on Star Wars. I mean, like I was obsessed with it. I've watched those movies so many times. I still do.
Dude, if you end up having a Star Wars themed wedding, I'm out.
Oh,
I'm not.
No.
I'm not. Okay, good.
My girlfriend would kill me.
Good. Good. Okay.
Not a chance.
All right. Best childhood memory. Do you got a good one for that?
Yeah, I got a few actually. One of the best times of my life was when I guess I'll call it the Flavortown era. That was during junior high. Me and a few of my buddies just got like bored I think it was like summer, like going into like fall. We like decided to start going out the woods, and like we built like made a fort basically. So we go out kind of by Triumph Park, like cross the road and go like into the woods, and we found this super sweet spot. There was like this big tree that was kind of like a Y, and another tree had fallen inside the Y, so it was like falling over, and so we just started like cutting trees down, like putting them up against like the fallen one, and we made like the thing totally enclosed. We stapled a bunch of like tarps around the outside of it, like fully insulated it. Had like a spot, we dug out like a fire pit in it and like grabbed rocks from down by the river. It made like a full-on fire pit. We had like a door. Wow. It was actually fantastic. We actually had people like this was over the span of like a couple years, and like after it had been finished and it was getting to be like spring when people were doing like morel mushroom hunting. Yeah, like people would go by and like leave us notes like telling us like how much like they liked our fort and stuff.
Cool,
like, stuff like that. Yeah, it was great. Like I don't know, I just felt like I had like a purpose, like going out there. Like I gotta cut these trees down, like working away.
How
like,
old were you?
So like 14, 15.
Okay.
It was like our 8th grade year and like our freshman year is pretty much like what it was.
Man.
Yeah.
We were hanging out down by there when I was that age, swimming in the creek, but we were up to no good, not doing constructive things like that.
Yeah. I was so proud of that thing. Like I love bringing my friends down, like all of our friends like that hadn't been there, like you got to come, like we got to show you this.
And now there's like $1 million game show reality shows based off of people that know how to build good forts and live out in the wilderness and stuff. Those are awesome shows. I love that stuff.
Yeah. We would have made it so far on that. It was actually, looking back on it, I'm like pretty impressed like how nice that thing was. It was sweet.
Cool. What else you got?
Another probably like my favorite summer like ever was probably my senior year going into college. So after like my senior year, after we had graduated, we'd go to my buddy Chase's house like every day in the summer, and he had a hot tub and pool.
Okay.
So we like hot tub, pool, and it got to the point where like with us, sometimes things like that would just become so like so structured and stuff. So like we just got like a whole routine. Like we'd go there, we'd get in the pool, and we'd watch a movie. We'd play ping pong, watch a movie, play ping pong, go to Taco Bell, come back, watch a movie, and then go home at like 1, 2 a.m. And that was like what we did. Like
that was your senior summer.
Yeah, I think we had a streak going. We did that like every day for like 2 weeks straight, and then we did that at least once a week. Like I don't know, it was just, I loved it. We watched every horror movie you could ever think of, and then once we finished all those, we started watching like Mindbender movies and stuff like that, like kind of like psychological thrillers.
Okay.
I've seriously seen so many movies there. I probably watched close to like 100 movies there.
Did you see Nefarious?
Yes.
That's a psychological thriller.
That's crazy.
Tell me that's not a sneak attack of a Christian movie. Mm-hmm. It is. Man, if you're into that genre that he said, that psychological thriller, this is a guy on death row, claims to be possessed by a demon, and he's about to be put to death, but the state has to send in a psychiatrist to make sure like they can legally put him to death, because if he's insane, you can't do it. And let me tell you, it hits every major issue of what's wrong with our culture and things today, about as far as like serving ourselves or being demonic or whatever. And I mean, he hits the major issues, and it's super well done. You don't know it's a Christian movie until you watch it. It's a psychological thriller, and it really gets you thinking about why we're doing some of the things we're doing in our culture today and who's behind it. Awesome movie. Check it out. Nefarious is the name of it. So, okay. Dumbest thing you ever did.
Okay, yeah. I'd say probably the dumbest thing we ever did was my buddy Randy broke his TV, and we ended up surfing it down a gravel road behind a car.
A flat screen?
A flat screen TV, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he broke it. We brought it down to Charma. We pitched it and hit it with the baseball bat, and then we got like a dog tie-out leash and hooked it to the TV, and then hooked it to the back of my car, actually, where the trunk clips. And like I drove down the road, and my buddies like sat on it and like surfed the TV down the gravel road. We made a TikTok about it and everything. Okay, let me tell you what.
That's a ticket. You made a TikTok about doing something like that? Like you get busted doing that.
I don't know.
I mean, there's video evidence.
We never got in trouble for that.
Oh my goodness. Dunkerton PD. Joe. Andy. Come on, guys.
I think, is that the statute of limitations? Are we past that already?
Probably, but it's on the internet. I don't know, man.
Yeah. No, we made a TikTok about it and posted it, and the first time we posted it, like we were all like looking at like counting like the views and stuff, and like it just started blowing up like crazy out of nowhere. We'd like refresh it, and like 10,000 more views would be on it, and like 10,000 and 10,000, and it got up to like 100,000, gone. And we're like, what happened? It got taken down by like community guidelines. I think because we showed one of my buddies, my buddy that had fallen off the TV. He had like gravel and like was like cut up, and we showed that. So we're like, okay, that's probably like gore or whatever. So we took that out, and they just kept banning it. And then like we eventually got it down, like dumbed down enough to the point like where we could post it without it get taken down. But like by that point, like it wasn't getting like the same like views and stuff. We thought we made it. We're like, we're going TikTok famous. We're just gonna keep making these videos.
You guys are like Dude Perfect all of a sudden.
we could really like keep this thing going because there's so much stuff we do. Like,
forget college, man. We're gonna be rich.
Yeah,
and just like that.
Yeah, because I mean, you can make a decent amount of money off TikTok too. Like, you can get like monetized after you get like a certain amount of like. Yeah, I don't know. That dream died pretty quick, but
yeah, you can get monetized on your podcast too if you can get hundreds of views every single day. It's like, no, I'm not gonna be that big.
Yeah, so we had our one night of fame. We thought we made it.
Cool. I never heard about that, man. All right. Well, let's switch it up here a little bit. Number one problem we face today, in your opinion?
Okay. I'd say probably the number one problem we face today. This is mainly mostly just like for our country, but I feel like our morals are under attack and our government has strayed like pretty far from like where we started. Kind of like back to like where like the founding fathers had us and everything, like one nation under God and stuff like that. I feel like that's not necessarily as true today. Okay. And I feel like corruption's kind of starting to become like a big thing. It's starting to be revealed like in like our industries and like our political like system and everything. Especially like children are attack even schools even, and like the left is almost like launching like an attack on just like our morals. And I feel like our rights are slowly starting to be taken away through like periods of chaos. Things like COVID and stuff, like everyone's like freaking out about that, and then the government's like, okay, we're gonna like tell you that like you have to stay in your house for like in quarantine for like everyone has to stay in their house for like 2 weeks and stuff like that. Like, I feel like every time there's like a big period of like unease and like everyone's kind of scared, like the government uses that to kind of just take more of our rights away.
Well, that's historically proven, and not just in our country, but in other countries. Yeah. They want you to rely. That was weird. And I was okay with it. I guess I understood what they were trying to do, slow the spread, a couple days or 2 weeks to slow the spread or whatever. Like, it's kind of weird, but yeah. But when you really start digging into it, and now you're starting to hear a lot more information come out. Dr. Fauci, who I thought, hey, put the experts in charge, listen to him and that Dr. Birx or whatever. We didn't know what we didn't know, and now Fauci's come out and he said quite a few things of saying like, yeah, the whole 6 foot thing, that just kind of appeared. There was no scientific data behind that to prove that. Like, we were just trying to do the best we could, and some of that stuff we just made up off our own instincts. There was no data behind it. So, yeah, you kind of got to be careful with some of that stuff for sure.
Yeah. And like, I feel like they're using like school shootings and stuff to kind of like use that as a reason to, like, to take guns away. And things like of
that's
that
a
nature.
big one too. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if you look like what our country started off of was because like we didn't like being taxed by the British for like tea and like paper and like stuff like that. And like, you look where we are today, like we're getting income tax, like we get every single dollar we spend gets taxed like 80% of it. Like, our employer gets taxed, we get taxed for like 18 different things, and if we spend it, that gets taxed. It's just like a never-ending cycle, and I feel like our money is just like in a revolving door that just goes right back to the government no matter what we do with it. And I just feel like our whole country was based on like the reason we seceded was because we didn't like the power that they're having over us and taking all the
religious freedom and economic freedom. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think, in my own notes, that's my number one answer too, is a lack of morality. That's all it is. We're going backwards in morality, and that's enough said. You can see it. Now let's go the opposite direction. What's the number one thing we got going for us?
I feel like people are starting to wake up to like the fact of like all the injustices and stuff that's happened in our country. People are starting to realize that, like, hey, maybe our politicians aren't like the most
they're not on the up and up,
trustworthy. Yeah. Like, people are starting to realize that like a lot of our money is being like siphoned out of the middle class up to like the elite class, basically. And that's one of like the shortcomings of capitalism, is eventually like the monopolies kind of take over and like kind of take all the money away, and it almost becomes like all the money just gets stuck up there. I feel like people are starting to open their eyes to that kind of stuff. Like, it's kind of being revealed like the media is not as trustworthy anymore. Like, people's trust in the media is like lower than it ever has been. People's like trust in the government is like the lowest it's ever been in our country. Like, people are starting to realize like how we're doing it is not working out, and I feel like that's what leads to change and things like that. It's just like being aware of it and not allowing yourself to like fall victim to all all the smoke and all like the screens and everything.
Yeah, you see, back in the day, all we had was television news, I guess. So how do you think people are getting different information now and starting to see that kind of stuff? What's around now that wasn't around, 30, 40, 50 years ago? Well, it's the internet. It's taken free speech and news and information to a whole nother level. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I've never been into conspiracy stuff and think, I always had the utmost respect and stuff for our government and our elected officials. But yeah, it's tough now. It seems like you get a good elected official. There's a reason they labeled DC the swamp, man. It's like you get somebody really good and with high character and morals, they can't get much done without playing the game of politics, and it's a tough thing. But yeah, the best you can do is be informed and be a critical thinker, be awake, like you said, kind of pay attention to what's going on and things, make your own decisions, make your own opinions.
Yeah, I think people are starting to get tired of all like the proxy wars that we're into, like sending all of our money overseas or fighting in wars that we really have no business being in.
Yeah,
there's starting to be a lot more like people being more outspoken about that. Also going along, like there's only so far you can push the people before they start kind of fighting back. And I feel like we're getting to that point. If you look down like Texas recently, especially like with the border and stuff, like people are actually starting to stand up to the government and like fighting back against like what's going on down there. It's just ridiculous.
And it's not, I understand helping people. I really do. But I also understand not everyone coming across the border illegally, not at ports of entry, they're not all seeking asylum. Some of them are being smuggled by the cartels, by the drug runners. They've already paid money to help get them there. And the whole fencing thing that's going on, what you're talking about, they're trying to put this stuff up in places to direct these people to cross at a legal port of entry, which I think Texas said they got 28 of them. I get it. Texas is big. Texas border is big or whatever. But if you don't do that, you're basically saying we don't have borders. And I've listened to interviews of some of these people when they cross. Some of the real journalists will ask them, why didn't you go, to this port of entry? This is your nearest port of entry. And they said, that would take too long. They let us in right now, and they give us, X, Y, and Z. And it's like, okay, well, we've got to change that policy then.
They put them up in like hotels and stuff, give them food, give them like $2,200 stipends and stuff. Like, I don't know. They're almost getting better treatment than like some American people.
Sure.
Honestly.
Okay, I understand that. All right. Who do you like in the presidential race right now? I mean, obviously we don't have it fully settled, but out of everyone that's in it.
Yeah, my first pick was actually Vivek, but unfortunately, actually, like while I was like putting notes down for this, like
he dropped
got a
out.
notification. He dropped out.
Yep.
Supports Trump, I guess now, but I'm really hoping he makes him his running mate. Trump does.
Okay.
Making him like a vice president or something like that. I feel like that he's just starting to get his feet wet in politics, but he started off great.
He impressed me a lot with the way he talked to people who dissented, from his opinion. Like he really did a good job of letting people who disagree with him have the microphone, debate their ideas, understand where we're both coming from. He did that like no one I've ever seen in politics because he's not a politician.
Right.
So he did he's got some other ideas that were great. And he's got some other ideas that were a little probably too drastic to get implemented right away. But just the way, he always had that banner behind him towards the end of his campaign that said truth. Like, let's just talk about truth. Why do you think this? This is why I think the way I think, and there's nothing wrong with sharing those ideas. That's kind of why I started this thing. So Vivek, that's cool. That's cool. Okay.
Yeah, I think we need a young guy in office. Honestly, like the last one I could even think of was maybe like JFK or something that wasn't like old and senile, pretty much. Like, man, especially that's the biggest problem we have right now. It's probably worse than ever in that department. I think it's just time we get someone new that's conscious and not.
He's had a lot of I don't even know what you call them, gaffes or whatever. There's times he says stuff that makes no sense, and then there's other times he seems like pretty normal. You know what I mean? His speeches come off fine, but then some of those get pretty rough to listen to. He just had one this week at a beer company in Wisconsin. It didn't sound good. It sounded like he was speaking a different language. It was messed up. But okay, all right. This one. I'm gonna blindside you with presidential trivia because you wanted me to leave some of these politic ones in there. So, from 1974 to 2016, all of our presidents were left-handed, except for one. Who do you think that one was?
I know for a fact Obama was left-handed.
Yep.
Let's see. I'll go Bill Clinton.
Good guess. No.
No?
After 9/11, you'll find a video of George W. throwing out the first pitch at a Yankees game.
Yep.
And you can see him throwing with his right hand. So that's the way to figure that one out. All right, there you go. Now we got a new segment right here. This is the first time, and it only works if I got somebody young sitting across from me. So instead of doing Gen Z slang, because Kaden obviously knows all the Gen Z slang, this is going to be I can't remember how do you say this, but it's like a comparison. Gen Z slang to Gen X or millennial slang. So we had words, we used growing up. You have words you used, at your age. And we're going to see if I'll say the word. I think this is how we should do it. I'll say the word from my time, and you tell me what word you would use in your slang to. I think that's how we should do it, right? I don't know another way to do it, because if I told you the Gen Z word, you obviously aren't going to be able to guess what we said.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I said something was rad or dope, what do you think is Gen Z slang for that?
Rad or dope? Let's see here. Lit. Yeah.
Okay.
It's lit.
So you on your sheet you have all the Gen Z, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have anything in the other column.
No, nothing.
Okay. All right. How about if I said chill?
Chill. I'd say that's vibe.
Wow, 2 for 2. Yeah. Okay. How about if I called somebody a poser?
A poser. Sus. We'll go sus for that one.
Oh, that's close. That's really close. No, that would be bot. That would be a bot. Yeah.
Be a bot.
Okay. If somebody's talking and I just said word,
you'd say facts.
Facts. All right. How about if I say I feel you? Like if somebody's talking and I just say I feel you.
Bet.
Oh, that would kind of fit, but no, it's mood. Mood.
Yeah. True.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a better one.
If I said bomb or that's the bomb, what's kind of a?
You'd say that's.
What would Gen Z say?
Gucci.
Nope.
That's Gucci.
Nope.
But
yeah, that would kind of fit too, because the word that goes for that.
I see like slay.
Slay. There you go.
Okay.
Slay. Yep.
Slay.
All right. All right. So you said sus. The actual one for sus is shady. If we said somebody was a little shady, they'd be sus. All right. Yeah. How about if I said I swear?
On God.
Oh yeah, that's kind of easy. Okay. Mm-hmm. If I said something was legit,
that would be based.
Oh my gosh, you're killing this. All right, now if I said something was just or meh.
Mid. It's mid. Yeah.
You're killing it, dude. You're killing it. Okay. How about if I said something was fly?
It's fly. Oh yeah, that one would be. I guess this one's not on here, but you'd say that, like that's fire. But
fly is more about looks.
Okay.
So I think this is one you already said.
Gucci.
Yeah. If something looks fly. All right. If I said like for sure, totally.
Yeah, I feel like that would be like bet.
Yep, you said that one too. Okay. How about bogus? If I said, man, that's bogus.
Man, that's bogus. That's cap.
Cap? Yeah, you're getting these. Okay, how about you won't get this one maybe. I don't know. Yeah, you probably will. Gag me with a spoon. Why did we talk like this? Gag me with a spoon.
Gag me with a spoon, huh? Cringe?
Yep.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
That means you think it's disgusting.
Yeah, okay.
All right, we're running out here. Let's see. What do we got? 2 more?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this one's kind of like somebody says something or does something. You're just like, dude. What is that one?
Bruh.
That's it. Okay.
Yep.
I think this is the last one. All right. If I was hanging out with my buddies, I'd say, yeah, those are my homies.
Yeah, that's your squad.
That's your squad. Man, you killed it. What'd you only missed a couple, and those are ones that probably could have been used, either or. Dang, that was good.
Yeah.
That was really good. Yeah, so that's the way to do it. I need to have those kind of deleted so you can't see my words.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the way to do that. All right, last one for this episode is how the turntables. If you guys remember The Office, Michael Scott always messed that saying up. He said, how the turntables. This is where the guest can ask me any of those questions or ask me any of those segments, and I'll tell you what I think. So if you got anything for me, I will answer that.
Yeah, I'd like to hear some stories of your old high school glory days and the old number 40. see how you rep that thing back then.
Yeah. So the deal with I was a lineman always until senior year. The whole deal with that was during summer workouts, if we could get this one last lineman to come out who was really good, if he came out, then the coach would order me 34 because I wanted Bo Jackson's number.
Okay.
And we did get him to come out. But for some reason, the AD wouldn't order 34. But I got 40, and that was when Mike Allstott was just killing it, and so I love Mike Allstott. But yeah, really, I don't got any real glory days. We had I don't know what you'd call it, a black and red scrimmage, before the season started, and so I got a couple carries in that game, and I broke off. It was less than 50, but it was pretty close to midfield. So it was in the 40s. It was like a dive right, and the hole wasn't there, and I bounced it left. And you're going against the JV or whatever as a senior, and for 5'8", 240, I was pretty quick yet for a bigger kid, and just all the way to the end zone. It was awesome. We even got to stiff arm a kid right at the end, but I mean it's JV. That's not really a glory day. But then one of the first games of the year, I think it was Janesville. We were beating them. And the coach said, we need 3 touchdowns this quarter. Or this half. I can't remember what it was in the second half. I think it was a quarter. I think he said, we're going to get 3 touchdowns in this quarter, and the third one's going to be to you. And I was like, sweet. Yeah, so, we scored. I didn't think we'd ever get to it, but we scored 2, and, he gave me 1 towards the end. And I don't remember. I didn't have like 100 yards that game or anything, but for a fullback, that was, I don't know. That was pretty big for me. Got a touchdown in high school football. I'm like Al Bundy. I just live off those. That's it. Other than that, no, I don't we didn't win a lot of games. Had a lot of talent, just never could win a lot of games. But we were playing 1A too, so I always claim that as an excuse, especially when I talk to these Fairbank guys. I tell them, we moved up to 1A the first year. They dropped down from 2A, and man, Wapsie was just good. But they wrestling school, lifting program, they were just tough kids. So that's all I got for that. So, all my old Dunkerton buddies, I wish I could have said something better. But that's going to wrap it up for episode 2 with Kaden Behrens. I hope you guys enjoyed those segments. We got a little deep there towards the end with some of the political talk. But, hey, you want to know what the younger generation thinks? They're not all thinking the same way. They think a little differently. And you let them share their opinions and stuff, and that's a good thing. So, but on the next episode, we really get into the what is up topics, and these are some good ones that Kaden picked out. We're going to talk a little bit about indoctrination versus education. We're actually going to bring up the Epstein suicide and how there's no camera footage on that. And one of my favorite topics that I've been looking forward to for a long time, bias in the media, okay? That's going to be a good one. And we might even lead with that one. We'll probably wrap it up with the movie Sound of Freedom. I believe it's on Amazon Prime right now. And that kind of shocks me because they had a chance to make this movie and they chose not to. And there was a lot of pushback on this film, and I don't understand why. It highlights a true story about child sex trafficking. So we're going to talk all about that in the next episode when we come back. So like I always say, if you guys liked what you heard, if you had some laughs on this episode, share it on your social media, follow our Facebook, follow our Instagram, stay up to date if we do giveaways and things like that. And if we happen to see that you share this podcast on your social media, you never know. You might get a message. You might get a free gift. I don't know. We got shirts. We got stickers. We got kids out at the high school are starting to put in their shirt orders like we're some kind of skyrocketing podcast. And no, we're just chilling in my basement, letting people talk and share their stories. So I appreciate you guys listening. Be sure to check back in for the next episode, Part 3 with Kaden Behrens, where we talk about what is up.